Truth. Unforbidden. Truth. Podcast. Unforbidden. Truth. Podcast.
Welcome to Unforbidden Truth. I'm Andrew. This is part 2 of my interview with convicted serial killer Ernest Otto Smith. So did the act of killing differ between James and Cathy's murders, or was the feeling the same, or was there any feeling at all?
James DIllingham, I never meant to kill. Again, go back to that. I don't think I meant to kill him until it cussed at me, called me bitch. And then I just meant to pull the trigger, and I know where I aim, so I meant to kill him then. But I didn't have time to contemplate it. But I sat there with her, there was a little bit more joy in getting her fucking head in than there was in killing Dillingham, because, I'm giving you an out. You're going to sit in jail for 9 or 10 months, and you're out. I'll go to jail for 8 to 12 years, flat, no murder. We'll make this a non-murder, non-robbery. I'm giving you a fucking out. And you're not taking it. And your kids are sitting up here in a crack house. So I just saw her as a worthless individual, and I, let her have it. Gave her fucking at it. As simple as that. So yeah, I took a little bit more joy out of that. But the weird thing is, 2 minutes later, I barely catch my breath, and I step out onto the roadway, and the chief of police for this little town in Kentucky pulls up, and runs my ID, everything. And I talk him out of he said, "Why are you hitchhiking?" I'm not hitchhiking, I'm walking, he ain't seen me hitchhiking. So that's what shocked me the most. Is the most shocking about it is I've never had the police right there. They were just right there. Had this dude actually cared or looked a little bit harder, she was laying over in the woods, about 20 feet away, in the brush. So, that's the FBI, reviewed that, and the guy even said, the chief of police even admitted, he said, that he didn't know, but I was telling the truth about that. So, I always thought that was kind of weird, step out of the woods and here comes the cops.
Had you been panicking at the time?
No, that's what gets me to this day. That's when I knew I normally don't panic, and I didn't panic then, and that's what really, and I should have. That's what shocks me about this. I actually should have panicked, and I was just calm. I get very calm afterwards, and I was able to talk this guy out of it, and believing I was walking up the road because my van broke, and to the point that he took a knife from me and then gave me a ride to the tattoo shop I was working at. So, just that simple. And then I get to the tattoo shop and I see blood splatter on my forehead, small droplets, from the impact, and I'm like, this dude, this fucking donut-eating motherfucker just missed the fucking bus of the week. Year, you know what I mean? He missed the bus of his career, And I did a tattoo, a Purple Heart on a guy, and went down to Bowling Green, Kentucky. That was right off of Fort Knox. I was working at a shop, Molly's Tattoos, just off of Fort Knox in Radcliffe, Kentucky. Radcliffe Boulevard. I got done with that and went on. I had an appointment. I did my appointment, and I went on down the road. And I've always wondered why I was so calm about that after that. You know what I mean? But I'm so close I've ever been to being busted right away. I've been questioned, but never, anything that I had any worries about. There was enough distance between me and the act, so that I didn't have to worry. So, hey Andy, if you have, I guess there's people out there that like to hunt down missing persons and stuff. I would be more than glad to give people dates, times, and cities, and maybe they can put faces to these crimes or people. You know what I mean? And I would be more than happy to do that if you get these people out there that can actually look, or will actually look. I can tell you when and where and everything. And how I killed him and where the body should have been found or where, and maybe they can piece the crimes together, or at least put names to these people for people if that's what they want to do. If somebody wants to do that, I don't care. It can't hurt me. I still, that's all. I don't know if you know anybody that is into that type stuff or not. You know what I mean? So, or maybe one of your listeners will be. They want to hunt them down.
Right. Yeah. Well. I'll definitely be looking into that and following up on some leads if I'm able to,
Okay.
track any identities down or whatnot or see if we can.
Well, yeah. I mean, like Kennesaw, Georgia. I know for a fact they found that bitch. The female. I know they found her in 89. You know what I mean? So I know that's been. They had to have because it was not hidden that well. You know what I mean? It wasn't one that they wouldn't have found. And there's some other places outside of Louisville, Kentucky, stuff like that. Anyways, I'll break it all down in due time. Maybe we can find some people that can put names to these people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't know. I don't care about the closure for anybody. I just care more about getting it out there and proving the. Had I gotten mental health treatment, I don't think I would be here. Even though I'd already killed, I think had I would have gotten the treatment I probably needed, or that was needed, I wouldn't be here. And there's how many other kids out there going through this shit. Bad childhood's not. Nobody even thinks about it. Nobody ever thinks about getting them treatment or making them express them to them that they need it. But anyways, I'm gonna get off of that. What questions you got, buddy?
At the time of these two murders, did you think that you would get away with both of them and never be apprehended, or were you afraid that they were going to zero in on you?
At first I thought I'd get away while I was on the run, and then I started seeing connections with the same cop, and, like it was time to quit this shit. I failed to be a good human, to live a normal life. I've done the best I could, and I failed. I failed at my marriage. I failed at everything. So I was kind of just, giving into it, and I started to talk to the cop about everything and come clean, and he lied to me. He tells me, we've got your DNA, and I'm like, you're lying, dude. Nobody's got my DNA. It's never been taken. It hadn't been at that time. At that time, it had not been taken. And I just looked at him. I'm like, oh, so this is the game you want to play, huh? I'm sitting here about, coming clean with you, and you want to play this fucking game. Okay, no precedent. We'll play this game. We're going to trial, and that's what we did. And I shut down. I would have told him probably everything if he hadn't told me that fucking lie. And once he told me that lie, it was over. It's like, why are you lying to me? Why would you lie? And so, yeah, I thought maybe I could, and we had him jury for a minute. We had him question what was going on, and I know we could beat the robbery because this guy had money in his pocket, and but essentially, I'm here because I gave up at that early on with him and was going to tell him everything he wanted to know. I essentially made statements that sealed my fate, although Dennis Smith didn't help, But I don't know who I'd be right now if I had gotten out. If I had beat that, if I would have quit. Yeah, Stan, this shit weighs on you after a while, man. I don't care what anybody says, but it starts to weigh on you. You start to see things. You don't see ghosts, but you see. What's the pattern to it? What's the reason for it? How did I get away with this shit? Nobody else, and a lot of other people don't. And, it's kind of weird. So yeah, I think I don't know if I would have ended up giving up and eventually going to prison over killing Cathy or not. But they never would have found Cathy. They never would have found her body. So I don't know how that would have played out. But.
So did you do anything at either crime scenes to conceal or cover up any evidence?
No. You just don't throw down lit cigarettes. I mean, I don't have a sexual hang-up, so I'm not leaving sexual fluids or body fluids and shit, no. And, no, I mean, couldn't find a fingerprint or anything because I only went in that room, and the only thing I touched was this guy. I didn't touch anything else. You know, I lit his ass up, and so they didn't have any proof I was there. And I've been pretty lucky that way, or pretty good about that. I mean, you know, about not leaving. I guess a lot of things I did before they even collected for DNA or thought about it, and the other stuff I was always pretty smart about. And you leave somebody outside in the woods for a month, and there's no DNA then anyways. You know, that's all gone. You know, so no, I've never tried to use counter tactics or anything like that. So.
Have you been diagnosed with any mental illnesses?
Well, they say I got ADHD, and then some of them say it's bipolar or whatever. It's not bipolar. I don't go into months of depression and manic episodes or anything like that. It's more ADHD, and you know, but it's so easy to be diagnosed. Anybody that's ever been to jail or prison knows how to tell the doctors what they want to hear, or the counselors what they want to hear, get diagnosed with whatever you want. You know, no, I don't think I actually have a problem necessarily like that. You know, other than the ADHD, keeping my mind focused, you know, that's about it.
So how did you feel when you were finally in handcuffs, knowing that you more than likely wouldn't be released from custody?
I planned on escaping. I instantly put my mind to escape. And I mean, that was my nighttime dream for the first 7 or 8 years. Until I could mentally wrap my head around the fact that I needed to be here. Or, you know, everything I was doing is how I psychologically got through it. And, you know, didn't let the weight of it get to me. Other guys, friends of mine were like, oh my God, I can't believe you got that much money. So fucking what? It ain't going to matter. I'll be out here in a minute. And, because that's where my head was. I mean, that's all I thought about was, you know, how I'd bust out. And, you know, that's, then once it dawned on me that I didn't need to be out amongst people, then it became different. You know, I was able to accept the amount of time I'm doing, you know what I mean? And it's a little different, you know, but no, I never can't say that I felt crushed by the weight of it, you know. I instantly went to the next fight. The next fight would be trying to escape. You know, does it make sense? You know what I mean? You know, so trust me, prisons are not built to hold people. You know.
Did you ever try to escape from jail or prison?
I escaped in 1990 on parole. I was actually in the prison system. I was on a field gang, and I took off and went to Atlantic City and had a good time, and came back to Columbus and got caught. I had an ex-girlfriend turned me in. If I set my mind to it, I wouldn't have a problem. That's you know, that would not be the problem. The jail's not the problem. The problem is you can't escape from yourself. You know what I mean? And the way I think is a little bit different than a lot of other people think. If I'm going to run up and take your car, I'm not going to carjack you and throw you out on the side of the road. I'm going to fucking stab you in your fucking head, toss you in the back seat. Now I can drive your car as long as I need to because it hasn't been reported stolen. It's that simple. It's pretty simple, or at least a few hours till I get out of the immediate area, you know. Now, what right do I have to do that to you? I don't know you. I don't know who I'm going to run up on at this red light. You know what I mean? But I do know that if I escape, I'm going to have a fucking knife on me, and I'm going to fucking use it. Now, what right do I have to do that? I mean, that's a pretty scary situation. You know, everybody thinks about getting carjacked and getting pulled out of the car and thrown to the street. Well, that's how you get busted. Idiot dials fucking telephone. You know, hits their cell phone. Stab them in the head and break their fucking phone and drive on up the fucking street. You know, you don't. If you're gonna escape, then do it. You know, don't half step it. And I know that I wouldn't half step it, so that's probably, or at least how I tell myself not to think about it, because I know I'm not gonna half step it. You know, it's that simple. If I need money to get somewhere to start a new life, I'm not going to fucking rob a bank teller and give her a note. I'm going to walk up to the bricks truck driver and blow his fucking brains out, pick up the bag off the thing, and take off running. I'm not going to play. You know, so that's how I stop myself from, you know, thinking about escape, because I don't have a right to do that, you know. Within reason, I don't, you know. If I ever disappear, yeah, well you'll see. But they keep me pretty well in high security because they literally believe that's part of my plan is to escape or something. I don't know. So maybe the psychs are better than I think.
Once you were charged with Dillingham's murder, what was that process like for you?
Oh, when I got charged with it, I was pretty fucked up because I knew my life was over, or the good part of it. And I wasn't able, I know for the 21 days I was on the run, I wasn't able to reconcile with that. I should have. You know, I should have reconciled with it, you know, and come to terms that my life was over, but I kept trying to stay in touch with my old life and old friends and stuff like that. That's eventually how they tracked me down at a tattoo shop in Nashville, Tennessee, you know, and set me up. The FBI marshal set me up for a job interview. I came in and they busted me. Because in '96, when I ran, they couldn't catch me. I ran tattoo shop to tattoo shop until I finally gave myself up. And the FBI was always a couple steps behind me, or the marshals. So, yeah, that was it's pretty devastating. I wish I had took 10 deep breaths and thought about it, you know, and realized that my old life was over, and instead of trying to rescue it. But I kept calling to my soon-to-be ex-wife and trying to hold on to what I had, you know. So, yeah, it was pretty devastating. That part of it was, you know. So, I mean, I ended up shooting a couple guys, but in Tennessee, but that was nothing. That wasn't related to anything other than they were up to no good. Picked the wrong guy. So, you know, I like that. I like people when they pick the wrong person. It's fun. You know.
Were you offered any plea deals while you were on trial?
I offered what? A lower deal? Yeah, 15 to life. And I was offered 10 years flat for Dillingham and 10 years flat for Cathy Barnett. 20 years flat. I would be going home in 3 years now. Right at 2 or 3 years. So, yeah, and I turned them down because by then I was knee-deep in the beating. I knew what all had been said. There had been 2 or 3 other people that confessed to the crime. All kinds of crazy shit had gone on, and and then my lawyers told me that they really didn't have anything other than my tape, so we sent over from my tape. And I tried to play crazy enough to overcome my tape, and it didn't happen.
You have 1 minute remaining.
So here I sit, trying to make sure that, you know, I don't know, the truth's out there. I'm no hero, and I'm no glamour king or any of that crap. I'm just an idiot. Had I been quiet and not said a word to that cop, I would be out right now. And I don't know, coming out of my divorce and loss like that, it was hitting so many triggers in my head, like losing my sisters and my family, stuff like that. Who knows? I don't know. I know a lot of other people would have died. I was not in the mood to be played with at that point in time in my life. That was not a good time to play with me. So, you know, I was on edge. I'll explain it more when I call back. This is going to go off. But, yeah, I thought I was living well, and I blew it, you know, and I gave it all up, doing the best I could. So, complete idiot, you know. I didn't come to terms with myself. Like I said, I was offered 10 years flat for Dillingham, 10 years flat for Cathy Barnett if I admitted to both of them. And that would be over in a couple years. And I was also offered 15 to life for Dillingham alone. So, instead of 30 to life. So, yeah.
So after you were convicted and sentenced to 31 years to life for the first homicide of James DIllingham, what was your reaction?
Well, like I said, I didn't really have a reaction. I went into thinking about getting back to prison and figuring a way to escape. That's what I did. I mean, that's all I thought about for the first few years. I avoided it. You know, it wasn't that big of a shock to me. I'd been in prison with life risk before. So I understood the concept. You know, it wasn't that earth-shaking, you know. I still thought I could escape and get back out there.
Did you have a plan to escape?
Huh?
Did you have a plan?
I can't really. Here in Ohio, I've had them. In Nevada, I've gotten in trouble for them. I don't want to go into them because it's just going to get me in more trouble. Believe me. Yeah, it's escaping from prison is not. Most people don't escape because they don't want to go. They want to go home. They don't want to be free. I learned that the first time I escaped. I didn't want in '90. I didn't want to be free. I wanted to go home to my friends and stuff like that. And you can't do that. So that's why most of them don't escape. Because if you really think about it, what are the guards going to do if 20 guys ran at the fence right now? What could 3 or 4 guards do to stop 20 guys from climbing the fence and going over it? Nothing. Very little. You know what I mean? Somebody's going to get away. But most guys, it would be impossible to get 20 guys to do that because guys want to go home. They don't want to be free. So, I mean, it's psychological, but trust me, it's there. And then guards get loose. They don't pay attention to their jobs. They think it's secure. They ain't nobody getting escaped, so they're not paying attention. That's how guys get out if they really want to get out. So, and that's part of why I can't leave supermarkets for a while. Fuckers.
So, do you remember what the bus or van ride was like on your way to prison after being sentenced for James DIllingham's murder?
Yeah, the bus ride. Yeah, it was. There's a couple girls on the bus. There's like 10, 15 guys on the bus. Everybody's sad and all that other shit. Making jokes. Some people making jokes. I've made. I always make jokes. I don't care. I see the humor and everything. But like I said, I wasn't facing the truth of it that I wasn't going to get out. I was telling myself, just got to make it through receiving, land at this camp or that camp, and go from there. You know what I mean? And find my way over a fence and get out and maintenance, da-da-da-da-da. Go from there. So that's what I was thinking. So, but yeah, it was a long trip, but it was one I'd made before. So I was able to fool myself. The reality didn't set in until Cathy Barnett's daughter made one of her nephews, one of Cathy Barnett's grandsons, basically mentally disabled, beat it so bad the daughter had to go to prison herself, and my same judge. My judge gave her 6 years, gave Cathy Barnett's daughter 6 years, and I realized it was through child abuse that it happened, but I realized that I set those wheels in motion. I might as well beat that little kid myself. I've been there, but it's the same judge I got, and that's when I decided to give Cathy Barnett's family the body. Go ahead and have Cathy Barnett's remains. That's when I gave up the society I have in person. You know what I mean? That's what I'm meant to do. Because I would have never hurt that little kid. I never would have put my hands on that little kid. You know what I mean? But you're easily disabled now because they beat him half to fucking death. It's the same aunt that is going through that I took her mom from her. I set all these wheels in motion, essentially. Or at least that's how I was looking at it at the time. Anything else?
So the reason you confessed to the murder was because the child was beaten by Cathy Barnett's daughter?
Yeah. Cathy Barnett had 2 daughters that were at the house, and a young son that was younger. There were several kids about 7, 9, 10 years old, and then 2 teens. And one daughter was curled up with this wannabe doughboy on the couch, and she was like 15 or 16 or 17, I don't know. And the other daughter was like 15, and they were both watching this whole scene play out, all this shit play out. Well, the one that was curled up with the dope dealer years later would go on and beat her nephew about half to death. And bad that this girl's first time getting in trouble, was given 6 years of 10. She could have received a possible up to 10 years. You know, it's like 2 to 10, 3 to 10. It's 3 to 10 in the state of Ohio for that crime, and she got 6 years, which is unheard of for a girl's first time in jail. And it was by the same judge that I had who sentenced me to 31 life. So he gave her no, you know, he gave her no breaks, which she was pretty mean. And it dawned on me that I might as well be the kid myself. You know, and that's not something I would have done. I'd never put my hands on that kid. You know, not in that situation at all. So, you know, so I kind of, yeah. So, yeah, that's when I gave them the body, and the feds came and wanted to put me on death row and got permission to do all that. And then the goofy ass fucking lawyers get in the way. You know, lawyers are paying me ass. You know, they fought for me not to be allowed to even plea out. I wanted to plea out to the indictment as a student, and they said made me wait and bite it out and all kinds of other crap. So ended up taking life without parole because the judge even said he didn't see it as a death row case because I killed a crackhead. Pretty much exact words. You know, that's pretty sad. What was that? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. So after you were convicted of Cathy Barnett's murder and received that life sentence without the possibility of parole, did you have any reaction then when you were sentenced?
No, because it was, to a degree it was an extension, but I kind of knew Ohio was never going to let me out anyways. I'd been around the parole board enough to know that even if I made the 71, Ohio was going to give me 10 years, so I'd been 81. So it wasn't that big of a deal, and but I did start thinking about my life and why I started writing and trying to piece together, you know, why I'm here. And it's not child abuse or any of that stuff. It's because I failed to get treatment. I mean, I could sit here and cry my Wheaties about child abuse till I'm blue in the fucking face, and it doesn't change the fact that had I received treatment, things would be different. There'd be a lot more people healthy and alive, a lot less people I would have hurt. But you know what I mean? That's the truth. And it's not the fact that I was abused. It's the fact that I did not seek or get any treatment for it. And things, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not blaming society. I'm just saying that when you call the fucking fire department and they run in and they put your house out, the fire department rolls their hoses and goes home. You know, they go back to the fire station and jack off or watch porn or whatever the fuck firemen do. And, but when you rescue a kid from abuse, you get to roll your hoses up. That's just the beginning. You're taking them out of the danger. The rest is, these people are not programmed. I mean, we're not programmed to live amongst you. And, you know, we can be messed up. And unfortunately for me, I was violent. I had gone through violence, big forms of violence, and dealt with grown men, had zero fear of grown men or of killing. So naturally, I gravitate towards the higher end of the violence. But what do you do when there's some little bitty girl out there who's just been abused, and she gets hired as a caregiver for your mom, and you can't figure out why your, you know, stroked out mom's got bruises all over her? Look at who you put in control of her. You put this little abuse from where they have a chance to be dominant over somebody else. You know, when you get what you get. You know, so but had they made the little girl get treatment, maybe she wouldn't have been like that. Maybe she wouldn't have developed a habit of smacking the shit out of stroke victims or stealing from them. You know. Because running into me, that's a rarity. You're not going to run into very many guys like me. You know, that'll kill just for the fuck of it or as a tool. You know, you're not going to run into guys like that. That's rare. It's rare that you'll run into guys who, you know, kill to hide their sexual bullshit. You know, which is what most serial killers do. They kill. They don't kill to kill. They kill to cover up what they're doing. And you know, that's even rare, but it's not rare to run into people that have been abused. domestic violence at the house, where the woman or man is just always fucked up because of their childhood. You know, you gotta sort this shit out, man, or you get what you get. You know, you get what you get, and then, you'll get guys like me or people that'll hurt your stroked out mom. You know, it's that simple. So.
How do you spend your time in prison these days?
I do a lot of writing and a lot of painting. I've written a couple novels, shit like that. I write novels, pretty good at it, I think. I hope. And I do a lot of painting. I'm doing a painting right now for Lee Warnos. Actually, I was going to send to you something for Lee, and you know, stuff like that. And if people write, I write it back. I make phone calls. Mostly I write, you know, and think about. Try how to put it all in the stories without it being a story. If I tell my life story, it gains me sympathy, or it gives me fans for the violence or whatever. That's not what I'm into. I'm into, you know, the adult emotions that can, you know, that what are normal adult emotions for other people can be fucked up for people who grew up in tore up little homes. So how do you know, there's stories out there about that. You know what I mean? You know, there's stories you got to figure out how to. I try to approach the emotions, not the truth of my life, or put my life out there, you know. But so somebody can see it, you know, can see how a person's acting and maybe gauge it back to the abuse they suffered as a kid, you know, even when they won't tell you themselves that's where it comes from. Because it was impossible to tell their life what all I went through. She was supposed to be my best friend. I could never tell her the depth of the things I'd gone through, you know. And what would she have told me if I had it? You know, you're handing somebody a big pile of shit, you know, trying to work through. So that's what I do. I sit in my cell and, you know, paint paintings, write, talk shit, big fights, idiots on the tier, have fun, you know. Try to get high.
How does prison politics work in your prison when it comes to, you know, phone calls, visitations, showers, etc.? How does all that work when it comes to prison politics?
I'm well known in a gang. I used to be involved in gang shit, and I'm considered incredibly violent. So I pretty much get away with whatever the fuck I want. If I want to go to the shower, I say I'm going to the shower. If I want to use the phone, I get the phone. And I don't really have a lot of problems with other inmates or politics game like that, because I'm known to. You know, I always have a death wish. Other inmates say I have a death wish. You know, and I guess to a certain degree it is true that I do. I don't really give a fuck. You know, but I don't really have a problem with politics or whatever. It depends on other people and how assertive you are. This is a place of assertiveness. If you're assertive, you're fine. You'll be respected. If you're not assertive, you get laughed. The Supermax it would be very hard to get hurt in Supermax because you're pretty much locked up by yourself all the time. Even with the shower and stuff in Max, you have to intertwine and deal with a lot of other inmates and stuff. So yeah, you could get hurt, jumped or whatever. There is a crowd of people who are real murderers, maybe 5 or 6 or 10 at the most in every prison. And then all the people that are doing time for murder, and you tend to see the difference. You know, water tends to seek its own level. You can tell who's actually chosen to kill and who hasn't. You know, who accidentally shot somebody while around this Kentucky Fried fucking chicken or something. You know, but the politics, it's all boredom. You have to understand prison is boring, so guys create problems just to pass the fucking time. You know, it's just to pass time. Ohio doesn't have much gay shit, and we don't tolerate it, so there's not a lot of that going on in here. Blacks and whites can fight each other without asking permission. Other states, they have to ask permission to get in a fight with each other, which makes no fucking sense to me. If I'm going to fight you, I'm going to fight you. I don't care what color you are. I'm not going to ask your dad for fucking permission. You know, you know. And same with drug dealing or dealing between inmates in other states. You have to ask permission to deal outside of your race. And that's just somebody trying to control you. Shot callers are generally the weakest guys on the tier. You know, I'm not mean to people. I don't bully people. I try to laugh and make jokes. And I'm the most funny guy on the fucking tier and have a good time. You know, until you piss me off. That way they know when I'm mad, I'm mad. It's not a joke. He's really bad. You know? Yeah, gee. You know, no, I normally carry a fucking 10-inch piece of steel, you fucking idiot. You know, but no, it's different. It's different, you know. And a lot of it's because Ohio won't charge guys like me with murder because I'm doing too much time, but they would charge somebody doing less time. It makes no sense. You know, they will not charge. Like, if I can kill somebody, they won't charge me. The other inmates know this, so there's no restraint if I decide to act up. You know, it's, you know, whereas another guy who can go home and see his family, he's got this restraint over his head about hurting somebody else. And I just try to keep from being a bully. I've seen guys be bullies, be in this position, and then be bullies, and that's fuck, man. I got enough enemies. I don't need to be a bully. I was bullied enough. I don't like bullies, so I don't try to bully people. Yeah. But that's about life in prison, you know.
How often are you allowed out of your cell on a weekly basis?
At night, about 4.5 hours every other night, and about 4 hours the next day. But the next day it's broke up in two 2-hour sessions because you got to go in for count times. So we get out here from it's supposed to be 4:30, 5 o'clock to about 9:30 at night, and then during the day we get out from about 9 in the morning until about 10:30, 8:30, 9 in the morning. As soon as the call comes through, they'll let you out. They'll only let 8 of us out. This time at the lowest level, Supermax. The other levels, you're only out of your cell for an hour a day in a locked workout room with a chin-up bar and a place to do sit-ups, Pilates ball, of all things, and a telephone. But other than that, you're in your cell. You eat in your cell. They bring the trays to your cell. You shower, of course, down on the end of the tier. So you know they let you out one-on-one and cuff you and walk you down to the shower. You shower. You know, that's a daily life. But in your cell, you pretty much, you know, they used to let us get guitars. They don't anymore. We can get a little see-through keyboard. Everything's got to be see-through. See-through TV, see-through radios, you know. So that's life, you know.
Do you have access to work in a job in there if you want to, if you choose to?
No. I could get a job, I guess, as a porter, sweeping the range twice a day, but no, it's not. I wouldn't even consider that a job. It's not like a normal prison where you can get an 8-hour-a-day job and burn up your time. You know, it's just twice a day when you lock up, they have somebody go around and sweep your, spray the showers down. And that's, they call that a porter job, but that's all it does. He doesn't do anything else. So it's less than an hour a day, less than 20 minutes a day, really. So I don't consider that a job, but no. We don't have, the guards do everything for us. You know, guards do it all here, so. No, they bring you your trays. They do everything. They don't, pick up your laundry and all that. So, yeah. So, what were you saying?
Have you ever had any nightmares about any of the crimes that you've committed?
No. I guess it's selfish, but no. I've never had any nightmares. I've always come to terms with everything I've done like that. I was high once or twice and had speculative thoughts about it, questioning thoughts about my actions, stuff like that. But when I've been sober, I've never had a problem, shit like that. I once thought I saw a victim of mine when I was high, and I was incredibly high, so who knows what the fuck I saw. But no, I haven't ever had nightmares, so I'm comfortable with who I am, I guess, with that part of it. Unless I'm not comfortable with the families I've heard, or my own family's opinions of me and the people I let down in my life. I'm not comfortable. I have nightmares more so about that, or wish I could do it over. Like not have lost my shots, not have lost my way, kept my head on straight, and figured out who I was then instead of now. Because once the opioids got me, and I was actually struggling with the addiction of opioids and trying to get off of them, I think my own brain used a lot of my past against me to make me want to go get high, and it used to, it did that. I'm sure of that, but I've never woke up in my cell like crying because I caved somebody's fucking face in, or stomped their head in, or shot this guy, or stabbed this woman, or anybody I ever got, exception one or two people, I think they had it coming. So I'm able to justify it. You know what I mean? I've always been able to find a way to justify it to myself. Let's put it that way. And as right or wrong as my justification is, I'm able to come up with that. So I'm not going to sit here and say my justification's right. There it is.
So
what next?
I want to take this time to talk about any other crimes that have gone unsolved or unnoticed that you might be responsible for. Can you talk about any and everything that you're responsible for that you haven't been prosecuted for? I know that you said that you weren't really familiar with the names of the victims, but when it came to like cities, states, and dates, do you have all that tucked away in your brain?
Oh, yeah. You get to relive them in your head, man. I mean, you own them, and so yeah, I remember city, states, people look like, times, stuff like that. But because I generally didn't go after people I knew or were able to be connected to me, with the exception of two that were at my tattoo shop, it was there is a connection. I killed two people out of my Bowling Green tattoo shop. Bowling Green, Ohio tattoo shop. I closed Ohio, at least four that I have even told the police where I hid the bodies, and they're pretty well certain of it. And there's a few other things. And there's, Kennesaw, Georgia, Louisville, Kentucky, but they're all generally people in the street with me, stuff of that nature. Florida, old farm worker I got, and that was in '89, out in Yankee Town. And I can go on. Fairfield, Ohio, Blanchester, Ohio, 1996, Blanchester, Ohio, 1989, Fairfield, Ohio, Fairfield County, Ohio, outside of Lancaster, Ohio, off of Revenge Road. I can sit here and give you all of that stuff like that, that's not a problem, but because I remember the face, I remember the looks, I remember everything. You don't forget that. I don't think you do, anyways. You kind of get to relive them, kind of get to hold them. In fact, they become dull once you give them to people or tell them, share them. It becomes duller, a little bit duller. They're sharper than focus until then, I guess. So I go on and on and on. Close eyes, quite a few, even up to 1993. And then there's still, I don't know if people died or not, just sheer acts of violence, or if somebody should have fucking died. I just never looked to see. Like I've run a knife all the way through a person's back, aiming for the kidney and the liver and lung, and I know what the fuck I hit, and the odds of that person living slim and none. But I never checked to see if they did die. I just didn't look, didn't care, didn't investigate for So, although they should have if they didn't. If they didn't have had a change of fucking life. So,
and you claim 16 victims, is that correct?
More like about 22 total, but 16 that people really don't know about, that I haven't been proven for or disproven of, if they want to call it that, yeah. But I actually figured it counts around 22, actually, and that's not bullshitting anybody. And if they look, I'm quite sure if you even look, you'll find that there are murders to match these, found bodies to match these. I mean, whatever. Give me goddamn fucking lie detector test. I don't care. It's just what it is. I don't have anything to hide. By lying to anybody, I'm not trying to stack up bodies or anything like that, but it's true. If you pissed me off, I will fuck your world up. And when it got bad was when I found myself putting people into position to piss me off. bought my wife a chocolate lab, and I bought myself 9 ducks and baby ducks, and I put the baby ducks in the pond, and the chocolate lab out back, and the chocolate lab ate all but one of my ducks. They were little bitty babies. And I got mad at the chocolate lab. This is a true story. And I got mad at the chocolate lab, and my wife said, she's a bird dog. What the fuck did you think she'd do? You know, and I had to stop. I couldn't be mad at the dog anymore. You're right. You know, you get these fucking little baby ducks. They ain't nothing about them. So I'm in the fucking pond. And the one that just lab door went out there and ate them. Well, it's the same way with dope fiends and assholes. I was putting dope fiends and assholes in positions to give you a justifiable reason to fuck their world up. And that's what they did, you know, so.
You have 1 minute remaining.
You know, there's a few of them that are like that, most of them, you know. Like I said, I never would have got caught for Dillingham had I went and done Dillingham by myself. Or been a...
Is there anything that you would like the public to know about yourself?
I'm incredibly good looking. Yeah, I think that's a good one. No, I don't know. No, it's you show. It makes tough. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, I've done enough crap. If they want to write me, they're more than willing to. I'll respond and talk to them. No, not really. You know, and I can't think of anything more. You know, but you know, see, abused kids, you got to help them. You have to express to them that they don't speak the same language we do, or you do. We speak weird language, man. We're like fucked up little computers, misprogrammed and shit, and we will grow up and have fucked up little kids, and those fucked up little kids will go to school with your kids, you know, and or they may run you over at a red light. You know, who knows? So, you know, try to bring it into child abuse. I mean, or at least, since that's not going to happen, too many idiots out there, you know, bring attention to the fact that people need to get counseling, severe counseling, or learn to speak. It's like we speak a different language, you know. Anyways, I'll leave it go at that.
All right, and the very final question is, of course, before we conclude this interview, is there anything that you'd like to talk about that we haven't covered yet?
Well, like the psychic type shit that I've gone through in my life, like how I've run into so many different people. Like I literally, when I tell you I knew and worked with Lee Warnos, I'm not lying. I mean, I just find that the world is so big, but it's so fucking small at the same time. You know what I mean? And I actually meant and wanted to kill Christian Longo, and I let him pass. And there's like, I can point out little connections like that. Like, how did I get the same cop in 2 different murders? You know, and you know, the first time he the first murder, he kept telling me that I was wrong to have done the guy, beat the guy the way I beat him, and then you know that he was kind of right, you know, to a certain degree, because the dude had no clue what, you know, who he was cussing at and what was going on, and I jumped on him on like both feet. So I wish wonder if people see psychic connections out there, if you want to call it that, or spiritual connections out there, like, you know, I killed this person and the cops are right there, the cops sitting right after me, you know, right 20 feet away, you know, and that's kind of weird, you know. You know, just shit like that. If anybody wants to write me about stuff like that, I'd like to talk to them about it, you know. I'll leave it at that, you know.
That was part 2 of my interview with Ernest Otto Smith. For extra content, ad-free episodes, and extra perks, head on over to patreon.com/unforbidden-truth. Thank you for listening. I'll catch you on the next one.
Unforbidden
Truth.
Unforbidden
Truth.
Unforbidden
Truth.